Well, hey there, Jason Stapleton here again. I'm here in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, and I am here to speak at a very exclusive, invitation-only event for some of the biggest internet entrepreneurs on earth. And I even brought along one of my clients because I thought, well, hey, she can probably use some of the connections that are going to be in that very room. But that's not really important right now. What is important is you and bringing together all of the things that we've been discussing over the last two videos. Now, in video one, we talked about the way the market and how we market and sell is changing, and I gave you a few things that you can do right now to rise above the noise and stand out as an authority in your industry. And in video two, we talked about how to quickly gain the trust of your prospects using a formula developed by the FBI to win over some of America's biggest enemies. Now, if you haven't had a chance to watch either of those videos, feel free to go back and watch those first, not for any reason other than it'll just help make everything we're going to talk about today and put it in perspective. Now in this video, I'm going to pull out all of the stops and I'm going to teach you some influence techniques that you can use right now to help you sell more while at the same time leaving your followers feeling grateful that they had the opportunity to hear your sales pitch. But before I do that, I want to be clear about something. The techniques that I'm going to teach you in this video, and frankly anything that I teach, has both a nefarious and in many cases an illegal application. Basically, what you're going to learn today can be used for good or evil. Now, I can't control how you use this knowledge, but my expectation, my hope, is that you're going to use it to improve the lives of your clients and to benefit the world as a whole. Wouldn't that be wonderful? So, whenever I start talking about influence and persuasion, anyone who hasn't spent a lot of time with me thinks that what I do is convince people to do stuff that they really don't want to do. And nothing could be further from the truth. One of the greatest copywriters in my lifetime, a man by the name of Dan Kennedy, who was also a huge mentor to me, said, the most money is to be made by saying things to people that reinforce and validate what they already believe. And if you've been following along from the beginning of this video series, you know that at no time did I ever try and trick anyone or manipulate them into doing something that they didn't want to do. Now, when it comes to selling, most entrepreneurs focus on why we buy, which makes some sense. I mean, what's your unique selling proposition? What problem does your product solve? Or what's the feature and the benefits that's going to leave your prospects salivating for what you've got? And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that, but frankly, there's a whole lot of reasons why people buy. Here's just a short list. They buy to be liked, to be loved, to be appreciated. They buy to be right. They buy to feel important or to make money. They buy to save time or to feel attractive, to have fun or to satisfy a curiosity. They buy to be strong and healthy or to be surprised, to be successful or to be more comfortable or even to make work easier. Now I actually have a list of 100 reasons why people buy, and every one of them is emotional. In fact, there are no logical reasons people buy anything. So here's your first writer downer. Every single person, regardless of age, gender, race, or religion, makes subconscious emotional decisions and then goes looking for the logical justification to do what their subconscious mind has already decided to do. Now, you need the logic to make the sale, but if you miss the emotion, all the logic in the world won't get them to buy. You keep that in mind the next time you're lauding the benefits of your turbo encapsulator being milled with prefamulated amulite. But rather than focus on the myriad of reasons why your prospect buys, why don't we ask a much simpler question? Why don't they buy? Again, it's easy to overcomplicate this, and most sales trainers and marketing gurus will focus on handling and overcoming objections. But the truth is, there are only two reasons why someone doesn't buy from you. They either don't want what you've got, or they think you're going to hurt them. Now, in the first case, they don't want what you got. It could be that you've just got a bad message to market match. You've attracted the wrong person and they legitimately don't have any use for your product or your service. Or it could be that you haven't done a good enough job of tapping into that emotional desire and then giving them the logical justification to make the purchase. But if it's the second reason, because they think that you're going to hurt them, it means that you haven't spent enough time building trust and authority and affinity with them. See, they're worried that you're lying to them, that you're going to take their money and not deliver on your promise. They don't believe what you say, and they refuse to let their guard down so that they can begin to trust you. Now let me be clear about something. For all the reasons that you might lose a sale, that should never be one of them. Your prospects are desperate to find somebody to follow. They are dying to turn control over to someone else and just say, you handle it. They're actively out there right now seeking someone to shift responsibility and ultimately the blame onto, but they won't do it if they think that you're going to hurt them. Now, in video 2, I laid out the relationship formula for you, and we discussed how the communication that you're having with your ideal prospects should be frequent, consistent, and intense. And now I'm going to give you a ninja influence technique to focus your prospect's attention in the direction that you want so that you can bring down those defenses and they can begin to trust you. Okay, so what I'm going to show you today is called the influential content formula, and it consists of 9 steps, and I know that sounds a little bit confusing, and it's like it's going to be difficult, but it's really not. I got a great example for you to show you just how easy it is. But the steps are, in order: identify the problem. Number 2 is blow the whistle. Number 3 is validate, absolve, and align. Number 4 is the promise. Number 5 is pre-framing. Number 6 is reinforce the frame. Number 7 is the CTA, or what's the call to action. This is where we're going to ask them to do something. And then 8 is reciprocity. And then finally, the last one is just your sign off. And as I said, it seems like this is a lot, but it is really not very much. And you can use this literally for everything that you do, for every content piece that you create, for every free giveaway that you have. This is a framework that is going to help you attract the right kind of people to you, and more importantly, have them really excited every time you come to them with an offer. So let's walk through kind of how this works. So let's assume that the problem that we're trying to combat or trying to help our prospects solve is that they need more clients. Now, this is one that is pretty common to me, and what I deal with is guys come to me because nobody knows who they are and they can't get any clients and they can't close any deals. And so I would put together a content piece that looks something like this. I'm just going to read the whole thing to you, and then we'll go section by section of it so that you know exactly what I said and why I said it when. So it says, hi there, Jason Stapleton here, and let me guess, you're having trouble getting clients. I don't feel bad. A lot of great entrepreneurs struggle with the same thing, even the ones with amazing products and services. More importantly, today I want to show you the biggest thing that you can do to attract all the clients that you can handle. You see, most entrepreneurs think that they're struggling to get clients because they don't have the right funnel or because they haven't cracked the Facebook advertising code. But for 90% of them, that's not the problem. What they lack is a deliberately defined personal brand. For example, here's a quote from John Wayne that may shock you. John said, "When I started, I knew I was no actor, and I went to work on this Wayne thing. It was as deliberate and studied a projection as you'll ever see. I figured I needed a gimmick, so I dreamed up this drawl and a squint and a way of moving that meant to suggest that I wasn't looking for trouble, but I'd just as soon throw a bottle at your head as not. It was a hit or miss project for a while, but it began to develop. I even had to practice saying ain't." Now think about that for a minute. Even John Wayne had a deliberate personal brand. Can you imagine how his career might have turned out if he'd have just said, "I don't need to worry about how the world sees me. My work product speaks for itself"? You see, he didn't leave his image or his reputation to chance, and neither should you. Now, you're probably going to need a little bit of help flushing out your own personal brand. Don't worry, I already thought of that and I've got you covered. I created a simple checklist of questions that will help you get clarity on what you want to be known for and what you don't. It's free. Just download it by clicking on the link in the comments section. Just do me one favor. If you got some value out of this little convo, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend. Talk to you soon, Jason. Okay, now, let's talk about all the psychological wizardry that we just performed in that little section there, because there was a ton that I packed in there of subconscious, subliminal influence and persuasion, and I want to show you just how crafty this can be and how powerful it can be when used correctly. So we already know step 1 was what's the problem, right? We got to identify the problem. We know that is the problem is the guy can't get enough clients. Now, there might be 5 or 6 or 8 of these that your clients struggle with all the time, and you can create content pieces for each one of them. But in this case, they want more clients. So number 2 is we got to blow the whistle. So the very first thing that we're going to do is give them a little intro. Hi there, Jason Stapleton here. And then I'm going to blow the whistle. Let me guess, you're having trouble getting clients. It's what we call dog whistle copy. And it's designed, the term dog whistle means if you blow on a dog whistle, of course, only a dog can hear it, right? Nobody else hears it. And so when we talk about dog whistle copy, what we're really saying is I want to speak directly to the person who is going to gain the most benefit from what I'm about to tell or teach. And what this does is it instantly creates a connection with the people who will benefit directly from what you're about to share. And then secondly, it absolutely repels everyone else. Because see, part of creating goodwill with your following, with the audience that you have, with your tribe, is that not all things are going to apply to all people. So by creating this kind of dog whistle at the beginning of every one of your conversations, the people who are not interested in getting more clients are immediately just going to go away. They're like, I'm not interested in that. And you're not going to lose anything from them because it didn't apply to them and they didn't spend any time trying to listen to what you had to say. If, on the other hand, they're really excited about, I am having trouble getting clients, that is me, all of a sudden they're laser focused in because you've spoken directly to them. And here's the thing, guys, influence requires that we repel a large group of people so that we can have a massive impact on the ones that we stand the greatest chance of helping. So you have to, in your copy, in your communication, seek to repel a great majority of the people who are going to see your content so that you can have the greatest amount of influence, the greatest amount of control, and ultimately the greatest amount of help for those people who can truly benefit. All right? So after we blow the whistle, we're going to do what I call validate, absolve, and align. So what we want to do is we want to let these guys know that we understand their pain, that it's not unique to them, that they're not special in some way, that they're not the only ones who can do it. And also I threw in a little thing here at the very end that kind of absolves them of the potential that maybe they don't have a great product. So in this area, validate, absolve, and align, I say, now don't feel bad. Because they probably do feel bad. If they're sitting around, their business is failing like mine was in 2009, and I don't know what to do, you feel bad. You feel like a failure. You feel humiliated. And so I want to attack that. I say, don't feel bad. A lot of great entrepreneurs, not just entrepreneurs, but great entrepreneurs struggle with the same thing. Even the ones with amazing products and services. See, I had a great product. I provided great service, but I still wasn't getting any clients. Still didn't know what I was doing. But at least in this section, when I talk about it, I'm saying, listen, this is something a lot of people deal with. And it doesn't mean that your product is junk either. It doesn't mean somebody else's out there is better. It just means you haven't figured out how to communicate. And so then the next step is we read, more importantly, I want to show you the biggest thing you can do to attract all the clients you can handle. Let's cover this first though. So in this section, we identifies and validates their feelings. It abdicates responsibility, because one of the things that we want them to do is we want them to abdicate responsibility to us. We want them to turn over decision-making power to us. So ultimately, we can lead and direct them with what's going to be best for them. Okay? So the abdication of responsibility, by saying don't feel bad, a lot of entrepreneurs struggle, we are allowing them to abdicate responsibility for whatever failure they've had to somebody else. Then we align with their emotions, because we're now communicating with them on a level that most people don't, and showing that we truly do understand and truly do care. And then finally, we clarify that their pain is not a result of their deficiency. All right? It's not the fact that they're bad entrepreneurs or they're bad people or that they have bad products or services. It's simply a matter is they don't know what to do. And then we move on to the promise. And the promise is, more importantly, today I want to show you the biggest thing that you can do to attract all the clients that you can handle. So now, not only have I correctly identified a problem they're going to have, because if I didn't, they wouldn't be listening to me anyway, and I've given them a big, bold promise that says, I'm going to help you do exactly what you want to do. Now, what is this? Well, this promises to solve the problem first and foremost. It creates an open loop. What an open loop is it's a question or a statement that you must then follow up with more information. So a lot of times what you'll hear me say at the beginning of a video or a training is, hey, how's it going? I want to show you this big thing, but before I do that, let me tell you about this. When we do that, we create this open loop that our brain wants to close. And so people will stay and listen to what it is that you have to say because they want an answer to the question. They want you to close that loop. So part of what we've done here is we've created an open loop. And by the way, this is all stuff that I go into great detail on when I work with my clients. And then next, it offers to help in advance. So I'm not asking them for anything. They don't need to pay for anything. They don't need to sign up for anything. All I'm just saying is, hey, I want to help you with this. So I'm going to provide for you without asking for anything in return. And then it indirectly asks them to shift responsibility. So finally what I'm doing is I'm telling them I have the answer to your problem. You do not need to worry. Turn over that responsibility and that burden to me and allow me to solve it for you. Again, a big part of what we're asking our clients, our customers, our tribe to do is to abdicate responsibility. And this helps to reiterate that and really put them in a place where now they want to turn over responsibility. Okay, now we're going to move into the PreFrame. PreFrame is something like this. You see, most entrepreneurs think that they're struggling to get clients because they don't have the right funnel or because they haven't cracked the Facebook advertising code. But for 90% of them, that's not the problem. What they lack is a deliberately defined personal brand. Now, what have we done here? This is some of the real magic of these types of videos and the way that they're laid out, this type of content, is this narrows their focus. So we are saying, you think it's this, that, and the other. And I picked a couple of them. You know, one is the funnels, because everybody's talking about having to have the funnel built out. This is a huge thing today, and truthfully, a necessary thing. But if you don't have good influence, if you have not figured out how to develop that brand and create trust, the best funnel in the world isn't going to save you. And then the other one is Facebook advertising, because everybody wants to be paying for Facebook traffic because it's getting so much harder to generate organic traffic. And so what this does is it says, stop looking all over these other places. Look right here. This is what's important. Pay attention to me and what I'm talking about. It absolves their subconscious of evaluating alternatives. Now see, our subconscious brain is really lazy. It doesn't want to go out and measure and judge and try and actively search for the answer and to weigh one option over another. What it would prefer is, as we said before, to turn over that responsibility to somebody else or to simply put it on autopilot. So if you have done everything correctly leading up to this, you should already have laid the groundwork for them to absolve their subconscious of trying to evaluate those alternatives. So now they're no longer thinking, oh, well, what about this or that? They're just focused on exactly what you're talking about because you've told them you're going to fix the problem and you've opened that loop up. Okay? It alleviates a fear or a limiting belief. So if they've been struggling with funnels and they just can't figure it out, or it seems daunting or overwhelming, or maybe they've gone out to Facebook and they've tried to spend money on advertising and it's never resulted in any money in their pocket. They've just done nothing but lose it all, right? Now what we're saying is you don't have to worry about that anymore. So that thing you've been struggling with is not something that you really need to be struggling with. That really helps to kind of like bring down that stress level and, again, opens them up to receiving the information that you want to share. And then last but not least, it introduces new information. So I'm now going to hit them with something that they may not know about. Oh, personal brand, I don't even know what that, maybe I've heard a little bit about that, but I'm not really sure what that means. And so now they're intrigued because they want to learn about this new thing or how to apply this thing in a way that they didn't know they could. Right? From there, we're going to reinforce the frame. And this is where I go in and I read the John Wayne quote talking about how John Wayne was absolutely and completely a creation of in one man's mind, right? Now the question is, why John Wayne to anchor this? Because I could have just as easily used Gary Vee, who said it's important to build a personal brand because it's the only thing you're going to have. You can't hide anything, and more importantly, you've got to be out there at some level. I could have used him. He's far more well-known and popular today, most likely, than John Wayne is. Could have used this guy, Tom Bilyeu, who said, the lesson life keeps teaching me is that the only winning long-term strategy is to be aggressively yourself. Or could have used this guy, Peter Shankman. Maybe they don't know him as well, but he actually started a little company called Harrow, Help a Reporter Out, and became wildly successful. He said, there is no professional or personal anymore. They're simply your brand. Everything you do affects your brand, and it is up to you to determine whether your brand is affected positively or negatively. That's it. Anyone who tells you otherwise is wrong. Now, I could have used any one of those people to reinforce what it is I wanted to share and to reinforce that frame. Why'd I use Wayne? Because Wayne is a legend who helped frame what it means to be a man to 3 generations, literally 3 generations of men. Decided what manhood was supposed to be by watching John Wayne on the big screen. And while you may expect a modern-day entrepreneur to promote the value of a personal brand, most people are shocked to find out that the Duke was a deliberate and well-thought-out creation of one man. It's something that anchors in their mind, something that they didn't expect to see. And so it has extra staying power. And really, I imagine some of you were reading that right now when I was telling it to you, and you were shocked. Like, I had no idea. That's the idea. That's the power of choosing the right anchor to reinforce the frame. Okay? Then we go on to say, even John Wayne had a deliberate personal brand. And then I asked them a question. I asked them to imagine how his career might have turned out if he'd have said, oh, I don't need to worry about how the world sees me. My work product speaks for itself. Why would we say that? Well, we say it because a lot of people, I know from experience, a lot of people don't think a personal brand is important. They don't think it's important because they think if I just build it, they will come. Oh, if I just have a great product and provide great service, word will get around. I don't need to worry about how I'm being seen and how people are talking about me and what I want communicated about me and my brand and my company. And so I want them to ask that question to themselves. Because, of course, the answer to that is going to be, well, man, if he hadn't worked on that Wayne thing, who knows? Hey, he probably never would have become the legend that he was. And the truth is, that's absolutely 100% right. And I follow it up with this. I say, he didn't leave his image or reputation to chance, and neither should you. So I give a statement. I now take back control of their thought process and their thinking, and I'm now the leader for them. I'm now telling them what they need to be doing, what they need to be focused on. And truthfully, again, as I reiterated once before, this is what they want. This is what all of us want. So, in this, we're going to link the story to the prospect. We're going to basically say, just like him, so are you, so that they have a connection with the story and what it's done. You don't leave things to chance. You don't leave things to be assumed. You give very clear instruction, and that's what we did here. It also asks the prospect to question an alternative reality. What if they hadn't done this? And ultimately what the subconscious begins to say is they begin to make the linkage. Oh, I wonder what would happen if I don't. I wonder what I'm missing out on by not having a well-crafted and well-defined personal brand. And then it allows the prospect to draw the conclusion that we want to on their own. You see, it's one thing if I tell you you need to do this, and this. It's another thing entirely for me to give you the information and lead and direct you to find the answer for yourself. And so in that first little paragraph there, I'm allowing the prospect to come to the answer on their own. And then in the last section, then I give a verbal statement that says, you shouldn't either. And finally, it reinforces that this is an area the prospect needs to focus on. So we're just kind of putting it back out there that this is why this is important and why you should be focused on it. Then we got the call to action. And I basically say, yeah, you're probably going to need some help with this. Well, don't worry. I already got you covered. You can get this free thing. Just download it by clicking on the link in the comments section. And what's this designed to do? Well, it's not always necessary, number one. You don't always have to have a call to action. I will tell you, the more offers that you make, this is crazy, it really is nuts. The more offers you make, the more money you tend to make. So if you don't like money, don't make a lot of offers. But if you like money, you might consider trying to do as many offers as many different ways as you can. But it's not always necessary for you to make an offer. And secondly, it just offers future help without anything in return. Creates a little bit of goodwill, which we all need a little bit of, and it indebts the prospect to you. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, anytime we do a favor for something, one of the 6 laws of influence is the law of reciprocity, which I'm actually going to get to in the next section. But reciprocity states that if someone does you a kindness, there is a subconscious desire to reciprocate. And so by doing this, by offering something for free without asking for anything in return, this is a way of creating a necessity for them to reciprocate, for reciprocity to come back to you. Now, next, in the reciprocity section, I say, just do me one favor. If you got some value out of this little convo, don't keep it to yourself, share it with a friend. Now, here's the thing. We did ask for reciprocity, but we didn't ask for it for the content that we're about to give them. See, that's free. We're not asking them for anything for that. And when we gave them the content at the beginning, where we talked to them about building a brand and how you need to do it and why it's important, we didn't ask them for anything in advance for that either. Now, what we're saying is after they've watched this video, after they've consumed all the content, they've learned something cool and they've walked away going, oh, wow, that's really interesting. I'd never thought about it that way. Then we say, hey, if you got value out of this, and of course, if they watched the whole video, they did, then do me a favor and share it. So we're only going to ask for that reciprocity. We're only going to ask for that favor in return after we've delivered for our clients, our customers, our prospects. That's the only way this works. It also boosts your social proof because now they're out sharing what it is that you put together with their friends and their family, with anybody else who might be interested in it. And it deepens their emotional relationship. It tightens that emotional relationship that you and the prospect, the client, has. And that, of course, is essential for moving them through the influence process and ultimately gaining control over their decision making. So, last but not least, it's real easy, just the sign off. So talk to you soon. And then I just say, talk to you soon, Jason. Now, what this implies is that there will be more coming, that there's a relationship that's been established here that's going to continue. But those 9 steps, you can see how easy it is. It's something that you could literally record in 2 minutes. Just throw in all of those 9 steps, have a little call to action, and boom, you're there. That little framework has brought me more goodwill and ultimately more sales than you can possibly imagine. And that's just one simple influence technique. Imagine what would happen if every time you communicated with your prospects, they left feeling like they got value out of the exchange. I mean, even if your call to action was an offer to buy something, they'd still be glad that you took the time to engage with them. What you've seen over the last several videos is just a small sample of what I work with my clients on every single day. Not only do I help them get specific about who they are and why they do what they do so that they can build that strong personal brand, but we also go several levels deeper into the influence and persuasion tactics that will turn you into the most well-known, well-respected, and highest paid person in your industry. Now, what I'd like to do right now is invite you to come and join my program and to spend the next year working with me to build your brand and your business. There's just one problem. My program involves a lot of one-on-one consulting, and because of that, I limit the number of clients that I will take at any one time to 200. Now, I currently have 94 active clients, and here's the issue. We have seen a huge response from this video series. Literally thousands of people have been watching these videos alongside you, and I know that when I explain the details and I make the offer, we're going to have more people than we have seats. So to make this as fair and as equitable as possible, I've decided to hold a live event where I will explain the details of my program and what you need to do if you'd like to join. This way, everybody has an equal chance to get involved. Now, to register for the event, just fill out the form under this video and I'll email you a private link with the date and the time. This is just the fairest way that I could come up with to make sure that everyone has an equal shot at a spot. And it also has a side benefit of giving the freebie seekers and the tire kickers a chance to move on to the next shiny object so that I don't have to waste any time with them. Now, for all you winners, just fill out the form and then make plans to attend. I'm not kidding you. I have been doing this for 15 years now, almost 15 years, and I can tell you just from the number of people watching these videos that we are going to sell out. Don't be the one who misses this amazing opportunity because he couldn't make a decision. Register for the event right now, and I'll talk to you soon.